Okay, cool. So I think we are on live stream right now. So we can start from here. Hi guys, this is Chris from DoraHacks. Welcome to the second DoraHacks Grant DAO Round 2 project demo sessions. Dora Grant DAO is a community-driven program to fund the hacker movement, explore and assist hackers with innovative ideas, and eventually help them to build important products or infra for the future of multi-chain Web3 ecosystems. For the DoraHacks Grant DAO, we mainly focus on three types of projects or ideas. The first is multi-chain Web3 infra and tooling solving critical problems. Second is crypto-native applications. Third is intersections between crypto and other frontier technologies. For round 2, we have received more than 100 plus project submissions already. Today we are very happy to have 4 brilliant projects to join us for today's demo sessions. They are ERC 1155 Delta, Payzura, Beima Suite, and Oxychain. So without further ado, we can welcome to the first team to start. And before that, please keep in mind that every team will have no more than 15 minutes for the presentation, including Q&A part. So don't make it too long and complicated. Also for all the audience, if you have any questions during the session for any of the teams, please feel free to ask our YouTube or Binance Live channel. We will ask those questions for you guys. So yeah, 0x as
Sorry.
yeah, hope I pronounce it right, but feel free to start. It's your time.
Yeah, I think the screen still is still loading.
Yeah, no worries.
Might take a few moments. Yeah, I guess everyone can see my screen now, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm 0x Sario, and CTO and the co-founder of CTOR Lab. So I'm honored to be here to talk about our new open source project, ERC 1155 Delta. And so what is ERC 1155 Delta? So it is a generic batch mint NFT contract NFT smart contract implementation, just like the well-known ERC 721A. And ERC 1155 Delta is highly optimized and provides more gas saving than any existing like implementations. And apart from that, it uses much less storage, and thus it has less impact on the blockchain resource, which is good for the node operators. Even though ERC 1155 Delta uses ERC 1155 as its interface, each ERC 1155 Delta token is unique, and just like any ERC 71 tokens, And so before going into details of ERC 1155 Delta, I want to first talk about the 3 criteria we identified for an ideal solution of the scalable NFT smart contracts. And the first is that we want to have constant gas usage in batch minting. Um, Namely, the gas usage is essentially the same no matter the number of tokens you are minting in a single transaction. And ERC721A from Azuki is the first implementation that achieved this. And the second one is the gas usage should be independent of the token you want to transfer. Yeah, this is a known issue of ERC721. 1A and ERC721 side, which is one of our previous work. It improves that with an fast indexing algorithm. However, both ERC721A and ERC721 side don't provide the gas refund while burning the tokens. The information of the tokens are not released and remain on the chain after they are burned. And this is because their gas saving mechanism prevents them from doing so. On the other hand, OpenZeppelin's implementation has gas refund, but it scales poorly in batch minting. Um, Unlike ERC721A and ERC721 side, ERC 1155 Delta uses a completely different mechanism to achieve gas saving in batch minting. And the technical details can be found in our published slide paper. But I want to emphasize here that ERC 1155 Delta is the only implementation that satisfies the trilemma simultaneously. Yeah, now let's take a little closer look at the performance. The methodology on how we do the benchmark is again in our light paper, and you can also find the script on our GitHub repo to, to reproduce the benchmark yourself. Yeah, we can see the gas usage for minting multiple token is essentially very similar for the three implementations. Yeah, so it's like essentially the same like for minting multiple tokens, and but however, yeah, our ERC 1155 Delta is the cheapest, and so yeah, for minting 5 tokens is about like 40% cheaper, and as for transfer, we can see the token in the later part of the minting page uses more gas for ERC721A, and but for ERC1155 Delta, it is always the same. In addition, Delta offers a significant amount of gas saving on the compared to like other implementations. Yeah, burning is the part where ERC 1155 Delta truly shines. For burning 5 token at once, ERC 1155 Delta just saves almost about 90% of the gas compared to ERC 721A. And this makes it an ideal choice for applications that require token burning. For example, RTFKT's forging token or time such as Rocket Factory. In addition, if all the tokens are burned, there will be additional gas refund, gas saving to even lower the gas usage. So in summary, ERC 1155 Delta is the only implementation that scales in minting, transfer, and burning. And also its performance in gas usage just outperforms all the existing solutions. One additional bonus of Delta using the ERC 1155 interface is the batch transfer is enabled by default. So no need for risking approved like a suspicious third-party smart contracts just to transfer multiple tokens at once. And when we designed the ERC 1155 Delta, yeah, we have a very similar interface, like application interface to ERC721A, and so like for the mini function is also like to just a user and just amount of token you want to mint at once, and so developers can adopt it very easily. Yeah, so why do we think this project is important, and how does it add value back to the ecosystem? Yeah, ERC 1155 Delta not only can save users tons of gas, even on the blockchain, it has the other than lowering the gas fee, it also uses less storage resource, and thus it has less impact on the to the blockchain validators, and this helps the decentralization as it will lower the requirements for the hardware to run the node. And ERC-1155 Delta is fully open source and always free to use. Yeah, we don't have any financial interest in limiting the usage of it, and so your support would be crucial to the continuous development of this project. Currently, ERC-1155 Delta is fully open source, and we have used it in production with our partner from Elysium System. And so you can see it is on the this is on the npm now, and so everyone can just download it and use it. And this is our kind of like a we have used in production. It has have like a currently has like almost like 700 unique holders and have been transferred like almost like 9,000 times on the Ethereum mainnet. And just to show you like how cheap it can be, like you can see for transferring like 4 tokens at once, it only costs like not even the $2, which is pretty awesome, right? Yeah, so the requested funding we will be used on the development for just building more useful extensions, also paying for the external auditing, even though it has been beta tested, and but auditing will certainly help the mass adoption of it. In the Q2, we also plan to launch a no-code NFT platform and integrate it with ERC-1155 Delta. So the teams that don't have the smart contract expertise can still benefit from this project. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that our team is the team. Cito Lab is currently in the AppWorks Accelerator program. More importantly, since the Cito Lab has been founded, we have published multiple open source frameworks. Some of them have like hundreds of downloads every week and have been used in multiple NFT collections that has like thousands of ETH trading volumes on OpenSea. And all the open source frameworks we developed are just we release them all for free. This is our give back to the NFT and Web3 communities. And yeah, thank you very much for your attention. I'm happy to take any questions if there's any. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for this brilliant project presentations. I definitely see the values there. Actually, I think everything is pretty clear from my mind. I guess just want to know a bit more about the future roadmap. You just mentioned like for the auditing, also for the no code NFT launch platform. I guess yeah, just would love to know a bit more about any other future roadmaps, if there's any. Yeah.
Yeah, so first is definitely like external auditing. So this is an open source project, and we have to do a very, I think we have to do a very intensive like testing. So if you go to our GitHub, you can see the main contract code coverage is for the testing is like a 99+%. It's like basically we have tested every single line of the contracts. And yeah, so but of course like and we have used it in production just all without any problem. But of course, if you can find the if there's any funding support for this project, we can just also like just get some external like auditing, so people will get even more confidence on this project. And so like they can just like it will definitely help on the adoption of it. And so we are at Store Lab, we are currently building a no code NFT launching platform. And so the smart contract part is done. And if you go to our GitHub, you can actually see we have also a repo on the no-code like this NFT launching platform. So currently what is left is just polishing the front end and the back end before we just fully release to the public. But you can see the smart contract has already been there. And
Got it.
yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So feel free to reach out. Feel free to ping me after the demo sessions. We can introduce a few partners about auditing to you guys, and also like if you need any type of support, for example, hiring the part-time developers or trying to find some developers to do coding with you guys together. For example, launch a bounty program or whatever. We also provide some features to support those. So very looking forward to see how it goes in the future. But we can end the conversation here, but continue after the demo sessions. But yeah, thank you very much for the presentations. Let's jump to the next teams today, which is the Beima Suites. Oh, sorry. Payzura. David?
Hey there.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, doing well. You can start.
Oh, thanks. Let me just share my screen quickly. Right. So Payzura, it's a decentralized payment system for blockchain. You can think of it like Web3 PayPal. Basically, how did everything start? A friend of mine paid for NFT marketing, basically like $70,000, and there was no marketing delivered in the end. So what happened is he got scammed. And what he did is he paid directly through MetaMask. And obviously, as we all know, all blockchain transactions are final. So then, in the whole shock that he realized that there's no way of getting his money back, we kind of started talking about why is there nothing in place that would kind of give you any kind of security, right? Such as we know in Web2 world. So this is where we started working on Payzura. It's basically like a smart contract escrow system where you put your money in, you agree on the terms upfront, and then basically once the work is being done, then the money is released. Simply because there's this problem when you do payments and the transactions are final, one side needs to take the risk. Either you pay upfront and you take the risk of getting scammed, or the work is being done upfront and then you wait for payment, but there's no payment in the end, right? So even if you do like 50 before, 50 after, you can still like pay 50 and get scammed. So there's no easy way of doing this. So an escrow smart contract system is the way to go. Simply, you pay, the work is being done. Then once you confirm the work is being done, the money is released. If, however, there's a dispute, then you raise a dispute and a validation process takes place. So key features is we do decentralized escrow payments. Yeah, and right now we are on Binance Smart Chain and Polygon and Ethereum, and we plan to incorporate other EMV chains. But right now also we are focusing on integrating the payment system into other platforms that are providing some value to the users, and we are facilitating the payments on the backend. Also, we want to build a reputation layer based on your actions on the blockchain, so we can determine how trustworthy a certain user is, and from there, like we can assess risk before a transaction takes place. So if you're about to make a deal with someone, we can prompt you with their reputation score. So is this like a new address? Did they found it from Tornado Cash? Something we can track, or is it like a long-term user? 2-year-old address with hundreds of transactions. So this user obviously created some history on their account, and we can link it to what they were doing, and from there, like we can give more accurate prediction of whether or not they are about to scam you. So yeah, we do plan to be on multiple chains. We also plan to do invoices for businesses. So if you are a business, there's like it's kind of harder to take crypto payments simply because businesses do have like this extra obligations of doing taxes, all the bookkeeping, and it's like where they're used to like their national currencies and everything they have already in order. Whereas for crypto payments, like it's a hassle to convert everything and to create necessary papers. So that's why we will offer invoices right off the gate. So as soon as you do a transaction, you'll be able to create an invoice for it. Some future things that we plan to do, like milestone payments, such as like if the work is like a lot and you can't really do it in one transaction, it makes more sense to push money out when like each milestone is reached, and this way also we will limit the risk and all the bad things that would come out of this. And we do plan to take a much smaller fee than, say, PayPal, for example, like about 1% fee. And this would be divided between the token holders and the validators, where the validators would have to stake Ethereum and stablecoins to ensure that there's like no bad actors in play. And this will provide real yield to the token holders simply because there's actual value being created with the token, as opposed to having some Ponzi-nomics where inflation goes out of the hands. Okay, and we can go now to the live platform. So right now, once you connect with your wallet, then you can go and you can create a template. So you can choose to start as a buyer or as a seller. The difference being then as a buyer, whatever the amount you will put in, you will have to pay upfront. But let's say as a seller, I'm selling, I don't know, Mint website. I'll create a Mint website for you. Then you can add the description. And I really say I'm using 1155 Delta contract because this is the most efficient one out there. And yeah, then let's say some else like agreed. Well, we don't need to specify here the agreed price. You can just put here, say small amount like this, and the duration. So basically, how long do I need to execute on this? And say I need 3 days, and time to accept, say it's 7 days. So after 7 days, this offer expires, won't be accepted. No, another thing is you can make it public, or you can go and you can make the offer special, special for a certain set of wallets. So basically, it's not public; it's private, and then only these individuals can accept it. And then you can choose either centralized validation, which is what you have. The aim is to have decentralized in the end of the day, or you can choose your own third party. No, I'm not. I don't think I have a wallet here. But anyway, you would create a contract, and then once it's created, you'd be able to go under my contract, and you'd have an offer here, and then you can accept it. And once the offer is accepted, then the work is being done. And from there, you can go and you can confirm the work is being done, or you raise a dispute where dispute resolution takes place. Yeah, and then we provide some nice metrics in the end. So, thanks very much for letting me present the project. But yeah, future plan is basically to decentralize the validation. That's one key point. It's also to integrate into other platforms. We are currently integrating in a jobs marketplace, which is all coming out pretty soon, and to support other networks.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you very much, David. So if I don't get it wrong, is it more like a freelancer, decentralized freelancer marketplace in the future, or not freelance, but for the workforce exchange marketplace? Basically, you like through your platform, you can provide the direct exchange of the workforce or freelancer services, but also you like other job marketplace can connect with your, I don't know, maybe API or products, and using your backend services to decentralize their services, something like this.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I didn't make this clear enough. So basically, we did a smart contract and backend, and we allow other platforms to kind of use our services. So to use our payment for their platform. But we did also build the UI, obviously, as you can see, so we can show what's possible, what you can do. But the main idea is not to be like to have the UI as I showed you, but to integrate into other platforms.
Got it. So it's actually more like to be, but not to see, right?
Correct.
Cool. Yeah, it definitely sounds very interesting. I can see some pain points in the market right now. I guess can you introduce a bit more about your teammate background? Like where did you guys came from? What did you guys do before the?
Yeah, of course. So I do have a technical background. I built an easy launch NFT. It's like a no code minting platform, no code smart contract deployment platform. So basically, you can launch your collection without any code in under 5 minutes. Do this, and before that, I was in Web2 development. So on Web3, about a year and a half development. My partner, he's like the business marketing side. He couldn't be on the call today because he's on a flight, but would love to be here.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, makes sense. Thank you very much, David, for these presentations. And we can jump to the next project today, which is the Beima Suite. So Adams and Chitty, feel free to start when you're ready.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Chris?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. I'm excited to be here to present Beima Suite today at DoraHacks. So let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah, right now we are good. We can see.
Great. First off, I'm sharing a couple of links to our official website, pitch deck, and the talking points I'll be using today. So let's go right ahead to Beima Suite. Beima Suite is a product that came about because since the advent or evolution of Web3, developers have faced a couple of challenges, myself and my team members included, in building and deploying Web3 solutions. We've identified that one of the most recurring issues was the issue of documenting, testing, and auditing smart contracts. And that's essentially at the core of what Beima Suite has set out to achieve or to solve. In 2022, Etherscan published over 2 million smart contracts that are powering blockchain solutions all over the globe. With the rapid growth of these blockchain solutions, come these challenges that deterred further growth and adoption. Beima Suite is a solution we are building to solve these challenges, to further develop the growth and adoption in the blockchain space. So what is Beima Suite? It is a smart contract development suite that easily lets you document and test your smart contracts without writing a single line of code. All you need to do is paste your ABI and smart contract, and Beima auto-generates documentation for your smart contracts, and you can test them with the click of a button. So how does it work? First off, you just have to upload your smart contract and your ABI, and it auto-generates documentation for all the functions, the events, and a whole lot more about your smart contracts. You can add comments, you can write up additional information on each of these functions or comments. Think of Postman for Web3. Once you publish your documentation, it's available publicly, and you can share this link to anyone. So it serves as a good way of doing developer handoff, so you can send documentation for a smart contract to Web2 developers who are seeking to integrate your smart contract, right? So who are the participants, or in other words, stakeholders of Beima Suite? We have to talk about smart contract developers that will be using this to document and test their smart contracts. We talk about the Web2 developers that might be making use of this documentation or information suites, which we develop for them to use to understand how to integrate the smart contracts and essentially how things are working in general. And then we talk about regular users, so people who just have a vague idea of Web3 or blockchain solutions that want to understand a little bit more. Now you can document your smart contracts in a very nice looking way and present to regular users. And there's a lot of ways, a lot of things have been put in place to make it much more understandable for these people. So now let's talk about market size. So we established that the total number of smart contracts created in the first quarter of 2022 was about 1.45 billion smart contracts, which is a lot. There's been a 24.7% increase in comparison to the total smart contracts created in the fourth quarter of 2021, which means that, of course, the development of smart contracts is growing at exponential rates. We identified there were 18,000 active smart contract developers that were committing code in open source crypto and Web3 projects. And even more fascinating is the fact that 34,000 new developers were committing code in 2021. That's the highest in the span of the advent of Web3. So let's talk about the features of Beima Suite. At its core, for now, we're focusing on 4 features: documentation of smart contracts, design of the development of smart contracts, testing of smart contracts, and auditing of smart contracts. For our roadmap, we began working on this in the second quarter of 2022. We're able to implement the documentation feature. We've been doing a lot of testing, interactions with big people in the space, such as Nadia Davids and some local people in different countries, getting suggestions. We even participated in the Build Space Nights and Weekends program that was organized by A16Z and a couple of other big companies in the Web3 space. And we got massive positive reviews and also ideas of how to scale and how to better use this solution to solve problems in the Web3 space. As at now, we've launched our products. We've gotten over 1,000 users, 200 of which are active. So it's safe to say we've achieved the goals for Q4. Currently, we're working to partner with Solidity Scan and Bonds to further improve our tooling. For the first quarter of 2023, we plan to scale our users all the way to 5,000, drive adoption more because we need these products out to people. We need them to use them, we need to get feedback, and obviously we need to make profits with time. In the second quarter, we plan to tokenize this product. We're going to have our own token. It's going to be used for a couple of things, primarily to offer incentives or to pay for some of the services, as well as to give services to consumers. And our plans for Q3 and Q4 of 2023 is to develop NPM packages for several smart contract development languages that you can use to further improve development using maybe Solidity or Rust or whatever language that you choose. There's a whole lot more in store. So we, like I said, are already partnering with Solidity Scan to implement auditing. We also have plans to use the data that we gain from documenting smart contracts to further improve the way that auditing is done, and offer solutions, suggestions to our users on how to make their contracts more secure. We also plan to implement a VS Code plugin that will be used to enhance IntelliSense, which is severely lacking in the Web3 space. So those are some of the plans we have for the next 1 year. We have, in the last 3 months, done a lot of promotional activities for Beima Suite. Just this December, we organized a hackathon in Nigeria here. We saw a lot of adoption. We grew from about 700 to 1,000 in about 2 weeks, and people are talking about this product on Twitter. We got massive followings on Twitter, on other social media. We're organizing hackathons. We've published some articles on some tech blogs. We're engaging influencers for pay ads and reviews, and basically organizing product-based conferences. And sometime in 2023, we have plans to run our first internship, all aimed at driving adoption for Beima Suites. We have a lot of numbers for how we plan to improve revenue. You can check this out later, as I've shared the link to this article, to this pitch deck. So I'm going to skip this a bit because of time. This is our product revenue chart for the next 5 years. We hope that this is a bare minimum scenario, so that we don't disappoint anyone that we might seek funding from, or grants even. You can also check this out on the pitch deck. I will be skipping questions because I plan to demo you this solution right now. But before I do that, I would like to further expatiate on the things I've spoken about, give you a bit of an overview of what we've achieved, what we plan to achieve, and why we're even looking for grants in the first place. So, like I said, we were listed among the top 50 projects from the Beat-Based Nights and Weekend program that was sponsored by A16Z and other companies. For context, over 1,000 projects were involved in that internship, or that bootcamp in particular. Like I said, we sponsored a mini hackathon at a big conference in December. We got a lot of new users because of that. We were one of the winners for the Polygon Falcon hackathon sometime in September for innovative solution in infrastructure and tooling. We now have over 1,000 users, 200 are active. When I say active, I mean that they show up every month and they're using this solution. So we're tracking that as well, because that's important. We've gotten a lot of positive reviews with some developer communities we've engaged in India, Canada, and other countries. As I mentioned before, we're partnering with bonds and solid discounts to improve our tooling. For future developments, we plan to implement an auditing solution that will be made by aggregating documentation and analyzing this data for issues, as well as preferring new suggestions while you're using our tool. We plan sometime late in 2023 to implement a VS Code plugin to essentially change the scene of intelligence for Web3 development as well. It's severely lacking, and it's a problem we've identified and hope to work on solving. While we are seeking these grants, there's a couple of them. I'm just going to speak on a few of them. We are very interested in growing our user base. We want to get this product out locally and internationally. So we are hoping to attend more local, more international developer conferences, pitch this idea, create new partnerships that would help to scale our solution and drive adoption as much as possible. We also plan to organize more hackathons, this time online, more Twitter spaces with local blockchain influencers in different locations so that we can grow interest and the user base across more demographics around the globe. We are planning to organize a much bigger hackathon right after implementing the auditing feature. We've capped it at the $5,000 to $10,000 budget. We're working on making that to use this for running this competition. And some of the money that we'll be getting from these grants will also be to pay for development infrastructure, because we're actually using a lot of data from the activities of users to improve our solution essentially. There's a very interesting thing about Beima Suite I wanted to point out. So the reason why we came about this solution was because my team were very experienced smart contract developers, or Web2 developers as well. We transitioned. We noticed that the documentation scene, the user experience scene is very poor in Web3 space. It's not very easy for people to understand what's going on, and that's actually a very limiting factor in the adoption of Web3. So one of the important things which I'm going to show to you that Beima Suite aims to do is to teach developers to understand Web3 as smart contracts better. So throughout the product lifecycle, you'll be seeing tooltips, helpers, and different things just to help you understand more what's going on, what the point of Web3 is, how smart contracts work, and all of that, so that at some point it will become as understandable as the Web2 solutions we have today. Of course, one of the benefits as well is to help users to secure smart contracts. Let me speak briefly about my team before I move on. I am the CTO at Beima Suite, in charge of most of the development processes. We have Joshua, who is into the business side of things. He's the one that got us into DoraHack. He's always sourcing for grants. He's always sourcing for partnerships, and we're really glad that he's on the team. Finally, we have Chucky, who is the head smart contract developer here. He's far more experienced. He's worked with Consensus and a couple of, and even Solidity Scan, which is the reason why we're able to partner with them. So he helps give advice. He's building the solution as well with me. We have between us, we have at least 4 years of experience in the Web3 space, and we're using this to our advantage in building these solutions. For context, sometimes last week we won on DoraHacks with Binance and Zen Finance. It was about $10,000 for something per project we're working on, and we've used this to sort of fund our development activities, and it's been really helpful in even building Beima Suites. So that's about our team. Now, the last thing I wanted to do is to demo you the solution real quick. So this is the app platform for Beima Suites. So for us to document our smart contract, all we need to do is click this button and drop a smart contract in here real quick. So let me just get that. All right. So this is our smart contract, and now we put in our ADI. Throughout the use of this tool, you notice that the UX is much better and more understandable because we took the pains to make sure that it was really easy to understand for whoever is going to be using it. So once I do that, you'd see that instantly it generates the functions as well as the events, if any, that are included in the smart contract. So you can take a look at it. You can add additional additional descriptions, like I mentioned, if I wish. I can just say that this is my first documentation, for example, and it also supports Markdown if you wish. So I can make this bold, and sorry, you would see you can make a preview and save, and you can see it supports Markdown. You are able to see tooltips to make you understand what's going on everywhere across the app. That's a very repeated theme across the application. So if there's any input parameters for this function, you'll be able to see it here. If there's any output parameters, you'll be able to see it here. You can also link events. So we added this new feature where you can decide to inform the users that maybe when this function is called, there's an event that's raised. So I can come here and click on this and link events. One very important thing that's happening behind the scenes is optimistic updates. So everything that's actually happening here is making API calls, but we're not allowing it. We're not allowing those calls to happen before we make these updates. So we only make rollbacks when there's an error. So that's essentially because we are very, very interested in the user experience in the Web3 space. So I just wanted to point that out. So let me just do a real quick modification. Yeah, maybe I can just document this mint function and say that. Give me a second. This mints new tokens. Doesn't matter what I write. So I just save this. Whenever I'm ready, maybe I can link an event, maybe a transfer function if I wish. And when I'm done, all I have to do is come here, click on publish documentation, or if I want, I can actually give an overview of this smart contract right here by clicking on edit details, and I say this is the official documentation for the Eager Beaver smart contract. Fun fact about this smart contract is that I developed a version of this for Snoop Dogg's team in New Zealand for one of their NFT solutions for musicians in Australia. So I'm fond of it. I just wanted to put it out there. So we are a little bit experienced in that field. So let me just publish. Okay, yeah, so this is when you have to sign in. So let me just quickly do a sign in. All the data I put before has already been saved. So once I sign in, everything just continues, as you can see. Sorry. Okay, yes. So let me just continue. Click on publish. It's publishing. I can click on view documentation. And in a bit, you'll be able to see the output of this of the documentation. So you'd see, like I said, 2 tips telling you that there are 3 input values for this function. You can get a description, if at all, for the smart contract, just details essentially about the smart contract. We are already working on exporting code. So we would, in the future, we'll allow you to click on a function and export usable code that users can, Web2 developers can use to interact with the smart contract. So that's one of the ways that we're making smart contract development and handoff better for Web2 developers. So that's a very high level overview for Beima Suite. There's a whole lot more on our website, which you can go to by going to beimasuite.com. You can learn much more about it. You can see our roadmap and a couple of other things, like how it works, So that's essentially about Beima Suite. Thank you. You can ask me any questions if you like, and I'll be sure to answer them.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Great presentations. A very quick question is that what do you think is the key advantage for Beima to compare with other projects who are building similar products or providing similar services?
Very good. So there's 2 things that we're driving at in the while we're developing Beima Suite. The first one, like I said, is user experience. Okay, so before we decided to use documentation as the MVP, because we offer a whole lot more than just documentation. We actually discovered that people like Etherscan offer some sort of documentation, but the user experience is really bad and it's not beginner friendly. So one thing that is at the core of developing Beima Suite is a much better, much more understandable user experience. And we plan to scale that out in any other solution that we're building. So the idea is that at any point that users are being onboarded on this platform, it's very easy for them to use, for them to explain, for them to pass on to whoever else needs to use it. Of course, there's very few, but there's 1 or 2 documentation tools out there, but none of them support developer handoff. In fact, the only people that use the documentation software are the smart contract developers, which of course is counterproductive because hopefully that's the point of documentation is, to share with others. The second approach, or the second thing that we're focusing a whole lot more is adoption, right? So obviously there's a void to fill in the documentation, auditing, testing scene. Our hope is to drive massive adoption, to make this a household name, so that we can eventually start selling more solutions that are user intuitive, more performant even, than the ones that are already in the market, if at all. So we want to get there first, essentially. The things that are out there in the market are not very mainstream. And then, like I said, they don't have the best user experience. So I think that's what we're offering, better user experience and better adoption for just the documentation feature. Of course, there's a whole lot more that we're doing that's not out yet, which you can find in my talking points. But for what is currently available, those are the driving factors that we're offering.
Cool. Yeah, makes sense. Thank you very much, Chili, for this detailed introductions. Yeah, so I think the last teams will not be able to join today's demo session, so we can end up here. So thanks again for all 3 teams to join us, contributing your time and efforts for today's demo sessions. All great jobs, great presentations, very helpful to for us to understand about your projects. I guess it's for the audience. If you have any questions for any of the presenting teams today, feel free to try out their products, join their communities, or engage with the teams. I believe they are more than happy to, engage with you guys, communicate with you guys there. If you haven't followed us on YouTube or Binance Lives, make sure you do that so you won't miss out any of the upcoming sessions like today's. Also, for all the teams, a very friendly reminder is that you will need to submit a project proposal through the DoraHacks community forum for the Grant DAO. So our teammates will share the links with you guys later. You have to do that before the final judging start to be qualified for the final prize pool. So yeah, this is a quick reminder. But in general, all good jobs. Thank you guys again, and hope you guys can keep building and doing great, and have a great Christmas holiday seasons. Yeah, thank you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.